Hello, this is Mr. Mulholland again. Today we're going to be looking at some more Solidworks. In the last lesson we made this part here, and if you remember we made it in two different ways. The first way we used circles and extrudes, and the second way we used the revolve tool. I'm just going to quickly recap how to use the revolve tool to make this shape again, because we're going to be using the revolve tool quite a bit today. So first thing we do is we're going to open our new document, and it's going to be a new part. When we have this page, what's the first thing we always do? We check our units. Go down here, MMGS, go up here. Document properties, units, MMGS. Okay. So first thing we need to do is we need to click sketch, like usual, sketch button, and then we need to choose our plane, and we're going to make this on the front plane. So when we have this, first thing I like to do, center line, and our little shape across the origin. Straight up, straight out to the side. Remember to look for the little yellow box. Now that we have this, we are going to make our outline of what we're going to revolve. So I'm going to use the corner rectangle tool. So just going to scroll in the mouse wheel so we can see what I'm doing. First rectangle made, and it has a length of 5 here. So we use smart dimension, type in 5, and it has a length of 5 here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the corner rectangle again, and we're going to draw another rectangle just like this. So this one had a height of 15 and it had a width of 2. Just using the smart dimension just like usual. And what we're going to do is we're going to do our final rectangle at the top, and it was the same as the bottom rectangle, so we have 5 here and we have 5 here. Once we've done this, we use the trim entity button, and we're going to just get rid of all them little lines that we don't need to make it one big shape instead of 3 small shapes. So now we have our outline. What we're going to do is we're going to go to features. We are going to, first we're going to exit sketch, and then we're going to go to features, revolve base, and we're going to choose our axis of revolution, and we're going to choose this line here, and then we're going to hit the tick, and there we go. That's how we made this shape the last day. So now we're going to make today's new part. So like usual, blank SolidWorks screen, what we're going to hit is the new document button, and we're going to create a new part. And today we're going to be using the revolve tool differently. We're not going to be making solid shapes with it, we're going to be making shapes with walls. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So we're going to be making a vase today. So first thing, like usual, we're going to check our units. We're right there, and we are going to check up here. Document properties, units, and we're correct there. So first thing, we're going to click the sketch button, and we're going to choose our plane. Now we're going to use our front plane today again, but like I said last lesson, it doesn't matter if you choose the wrong plane because we can fix it later. So we click front plane, and just like usual, we are going to draw our center line. Straight up, looking for the little green box or the little yellow box, and straight out to the side, looking for the little yellow box. When I'm doing something similar to this, I like to draw a little box first, and we use this box for our scale. So I'm going to draw a little box from the origin out to the side, and I'm going to measure the top, and I'm going to say the top is 150 millimeters, and I'm going to say it's 300 millimeters tall. And I chose these dimensions because if you look at a ruler is 300 millimeters long, and half of a ruler is 150 millimeters. So it gives us a good understanding of roughly what sort of size this shape will be. So we're going to be using a new tool now called Spline. I sometimes call it Free Sketch because it used to be called Free Sketch in older Solidworks. But this tool can be very useful for creating interesting shapes, and you'll see why in a minute. So I'm going to choose it, and I'm going to just start drawing a little shape, and each time I click, the curve changes direction. You see? So the more I click, the more curvy it gets, the tighter the rotations are. So, going to hit back, Control Z to undo all that, because I was just showing you how it works. So we're going to make a vase, and if you think what we're trying to draw is if you cut a vase in half, and then you cut it in half again, what would you be looking at? What would the shape be that you're looking at? So, I'm just going to draw a little shape, something similar to this, to what I imagine my vase looking like. This isn't about precision. Your units aren't too important for something like this, but this is just sort of to get experience using the vase tool, or the revolve tool. So I've drew my line of something roughly what I want my vase to look like if it's quartered. So we could revolve this now, but that would give us a completely solid shape. We don't want a completely solid shape for something like this because there would be nowhere to put your flowers in. So what we're going to use is we're going to use this button here, Offset Entities. And we're going to click the line for our vase. And we're going to give it an offset of 3. Now that's 3 millimeters. So basically what this is going to do is this is going to make our vase wall 3 millimeters thick. So we're going to use 3, and we can choose which side we want. So you see this little arrow in here? It's pointing outwards. If you want to go 3 millimeters in, you can choose 3 millimeters in. All you need to do is click the side of the line you want it to be. And you see what this has done is this has made an exact copy of this line here, apart from 3 millimeters in from it instead of, or 3 millimeters out from it. Now this is important because you need what you call a closed entity to use the revolve tool. And what a closed entity is basically a complete shape that's completely looped. So you can start at one end of it. So I'll start down here, and you can follow the line all the way up, and what you should be able to do in a closed entity is go all the way around. But this isn't a closed entity yet. We need to make this a closed entity. And what that means is we need to draw a little line between these two lines to join them up. So if you think of a closed entity as like a complete shape. So we're closed up there, and we go down to the other side. And we're not closed up down here yet. So what we're going to do is I'm going to join it to this line here to close it up. So now our sketch should be a closed entity. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use our Trim Entities button, and I'm going to trim away the lines we don't need to give us one big shape instead of loads of tiny shapes. Just you sometimes need to zoom in and zoom out when you're doing this, just to see what you're doing. And you know it's a closed entity because it goes grey, goes like that grey blue colour when it's a closed entity. So now that we've got this, we're going to use our revolve tool. So we'll go into our features, revolve boss base. Click on it, and it's automatically chose this closed entity as what we want to rotate. So this is what we're going to choose. Let it choose that, and then we're going to choose our axis of revolution, and we're going to choose this. See the center line from the start, and there you go. You have your vase. Now, to help you understand what's happening, I'm going to click sectional view. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to click sectional. And what we're going to do is we're going to do two sections, section 1 and section 2. And you can see this here line is our closed entity that we started with. And you can play about with this tool as much as you want. Measurements haven't been important for this particular task, other than your starting square, your starting rectangle, because it'll give us our scale for the rest of the part. But when you're making something like this, you can be as creative as you want.